In this video, I'm giving you 5 more tips to get good at Warhammer Warcry. Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm Jay, this is Top Table Gaming, and thank you so much for joining us for yet another Warhammer Warcry video. Before we get stuck in, if you enjoy the content we make, hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. We are still loving Warhammer Warcry here at Top Table, and thank you so much for the incredible reception we received for our first 5 things that can help you get better at Warhammer Warcry video. It was great to know that this helped some of you, and it was great to see some of your suggestions in the comments, so I figured why not make another one. So I'm going to be giving you 5 more tips that should help improve your game for Warhammer Warcry, and do let me know what you think of them below, and if you've got any that I haven't suggested, stick them in the comments. Don't forget as well, as always, we're going to give you a bonus tip at the end of the video, so stay tuned, don't clock out early because you're going to appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get stuck in with tip number 1. Okay, so tip number 1 to help you improve your Warhammer Warcry game is know your enemy. This game is fantastic and has such a broad range of characters and factions that we can use, with there being 15 available from launch day. One thing that's really going to help you improve your Warcry game is knowing what you're playing against, because we can all learn every ability and maximize the best time to use X and Y, and which characters are more likely to achieve the things you want. But if you don't know what your enemy's going to throw back at you, it's going to leave you seriously on the back foot. This is a game that is so fast, bloody, and things can literally change. I've had games where we thought it was over 3 or 4 times to the other player and it switched back. So you've always got to be ready for what's coming, and you can't do that without knowing. Ways to help this are grab some of the card packs, make sure you've had a read through, or get to your local club and try and just play against every faction once, because once I understood the basic principles and play styles of what every faction was going to do, I knew that on the factions that were going to summon, like Legions of Nagash and Nighthaunt, killing the person that could do that is going to be key, so they can't overwhelm me with numbers. If I'm playing the Iron Golems, I want to isolate the Breacher's movement or keep him out of the fight using distance. Things like that are really going to help when you can identify your opponent's key strengths before they throw them at you unaware and really combat them. So I think that's really going to help improve your Warcry game. What's more, we are going to be doing a faction review for every faction in the game. So stay tuned and make sure you're subscribed because you don't want to miss those. Tip number 2 is all about abilities. Abilities are such a huge part of this game, and they are exactly what give all of your different factions the flavour that makes them unique and makes them feel like them. This definitely feeds on from the first point about knowing your enemies, so it's great to know what abilities your enemies have got, but also learning your own and maximising when the best time to use them is absolutely huge. Flesh Eater Courts, for example, have the Royal Hunt as a quad. Why would you ever use Rampage when you have that? Because it is technically a better version, and knowing your faction abilities and the generic ones are really going to help you maximise how you use them when you use them, because using the right ability at the right time, not just the first available opportunity, can be absolutely huge. So make sure you learn your abilities, make sure you learn how they operate and when the best time is to use them, and this is definitely going to help you improve your game. Tip number 3 is all about those wild dice. The wild dice are one of the things that make this game very unique, and it's definitely one of the features that I adore about this game that makes it stand out from everything else out there. You get 1 wild dice a turn, unless the twist says 2, which is a very fun scenario to play. But usually you get 1 wild dice a turn, and you can either use it to add +1 to initiative, or you can turn a double into a triple into a quad, so on and so forth. And these really add a level of complexity in planning what you're going to do for the turn, because of course, if you go high on initiative, you're going to have very few abilities you can trigger. If you're low on initiative, you've probably got a lot more abilities you're going to be able to utilise in the turn, but you're going to be going second, and that Alpha Strike can be devastating in this game. What do I think the best spend of wild dice is? Well, it's very much game dependent, but usually going first seems to have a massive advantage for me, with the exception of turn 1. Nobody wants to go first turn 1. As I said in the previous top 5 video, the wait action and really waiting to see what your opponent's going to do is key in this game. But from turn 2 onwards, you're usually in the thick of it, and getting that Alpha Strike off, which could be clearing an objective or wiping out a key model before he gets to hit back, is massive. The main thing I want to talk about wild dice is banking them though. So if you don't spend your wild dice by putting it into your singles or your multiples of numbers, you get to keep it and bank it. And the amount of games that I've won I had a huge advantage of, because turn 3 I've had 2 or even 3 in some instances just ready to throw in, means I can guarantee initiative, or I can get the quad I need, or multiple doubles for rush and onslaught, and just be able to get so much work done. In my opinion, the way I play, it's very rare I need it turn 1. It's nice, a little bit of extra movement. I'll definitely weigh things up depending on scenario, but it's very rare that I deem it as needed. So I adore banking them. Turn 1, usually bank it. Turn 2, I could have 2. Turn 3, I could even have 3. My usual play style is I don't spend the turn 1 wild dice. Turn 2, I will just use 1. So then turn 3, I've still got the option of 2, which just gives me so much more flexibility in the late game, which is where the games are won or lost. And I think learning how to use your wild dice effectively will really improve your game. We all know how to move and attack, and I've talked to you previously about the wait action, but tip number 4 is disengage. The disengage action is one of the core actions that any model can do, and I think it's massively underused right now. This game is pitched, and it definitely is a fast, bloody, brutal game of combat in the mortal realms, which we are all loving, and it's so easy to get caught up in that. The amount of times I've just gone, cool, I'm already in combat, I'm going to hit you twice and do as much damage as I can, when 6 inches away there's an objective that nobody is controlling that could score me VPs. I should just disengage and then move and think of the greater good, which isn't kill the thing in front of me, it's what is the scenario, what is the objective. And things like this are huge. There are also turns when I've gone first in the turn and I'm like, right, let's try and kill a thing, and the better action would have actually been to disengage from the ogre breach, let's say, for conversation's sake, so it isn't doing rampage and just wailing on me and killing everything. Disengaging and really playing the numbers game and picking your fights is key to success in Warcry. Number 5 is all about terrain and objectives. It's very easy in a game to just look at the terrain at the start of the game, give it very little or no thought, and then just play the game. Now, terrain is a huge part of this game, especially for factions like the Corvus Cabal, but you really want to use the terrain and objective placement to your advantage. I'll give you an extreme example so you understand what I'm talking about. Let's say you're playing against the Stormcast Vanguard list and they've got Thunderstrike crossbows and things like that. You've got a 3-turn game and you're playing no quarter or something that scores board quarters or objectives. Plant those objectives behind terrain and stick a model on them. They're not going to be shooting you. People have to, unless you're Nighthaunt, models have to move around terrain. So really, if you know a model's got move 4, if you can just run round a building and be over 8 inches away, you're covering for the turn. So for those factions that don't really hit that hard and want to play scenario and zone scoring more, use the terrain and the fact that things have to move around it and up it and off it to your advantage, and also use it when you're doing objective placement to hide objectives and really build a strategy. You can even use terrain then with a shield wall of models to actually fortify an area of the board. If you're guarding treasure or you're playing attacker and defender, this can be huge and really narrow down the amount of angles that the opponent can come at you, and you can funnel them into your best fighters, which means in the time of a game they're probably not going to have enough time to chew through. And now a bonus tip, because 5 is never enough, and I want to talk to you quickly about tournament play. Having both run tournaments and played in them now, being lucky enough to take part in this at Element Games, our local club, I can give you a few tips around tournament play. So, round times, we've been using around 60 to 75 minutes. The GW recommended time is 2 hours, but I'm not sure many people are going to do that. It doesn't really work for a club night and things like that. But when you're playing in such a tight time constraint, including setting up, getting the deployment done, and actually getting stuck in, sometimes time can become a serious crunch value. If a game goes to time, you are both only going to score 10 points out of the possible 20 tournament points available. So when you're looking at tournaments, I would say the factions that are going to really serve you well are the fast, hard-hitting factions. I adore Flesh Eater Courts for my tournament play. There is a lot of models to move, but a lot of them can be done fast. I've got 9 ghouls for doing my objective grabbing and moving around the board and tying things up. And then I have my Vampire Lord and my Crypt Horror just as my hard-hitting piece is getting work done. And your fast, effective warbands, and warbands that you are familiar and fluent with, using all the tips from these 2 videos, are really going to help you out in tournament play. And I hope that was a cool extra little tip for you. Okay, there we have it. Those are my next 5 tips for getting good at Warhammer Warcry. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Did they help? Are they things that you already consider? Have I missed anything obvious? We're a community here trying to help each other at this game, so do let me know in the comments below. I'd love to start a conversation. We might even make another video. Who knows? I hope you've enjoyed this video, and make sure you check out the massive Warcry content we've got, from unboxings to battle reports and faction reviews coming soon. We are going to be the hub for Warhammer Warcry content, so please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, because you don't want to miss out. We're going to do this together. We're going to have a lot of great content coming. That's the end of the video. As always, I've been Jay, you've been watching Top Table Gaming, and we will see you next time.